Hello and welcome students. We are into the 29th video lecture of the video lecture series made on the subject of machine design whose subject code is ME33303 and the topic which we are going to discuss today is the design of journal bearings part 2. In this we are going to discuss about the McKee's investigation, about the bearing characteristic number and the bearing modulus. Basically, this design of journal bearing part 2 means today's lecture is in continuation. It is in continuation with the previous video lecture in which I have started the topic of design of journal bearings, in which I have told you about the Petrov's equation and the importance of viscosity and viscosity index. So if you have not seen that video lecture, go into my lecture number 28 of this subject and you will have a better understanding of the design of journal bearings. I am student Shri Krishna Mishra, Assistant Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Suresh Gyan Vihar University, Jaipur. Now before moving into today's lecture, let's see what are the objectives of today's lecture. So the objectives of today's lecture, students, are we are going to understand the importance of McKay's investigation. This is an important investigation that is done in order to find how there is transition from thin film to thick film bearing in the case of journal bearings, and that too for hydrodynamic bearings, in which their shaft's rotation itself causes the reduction of friction between the two mating surfaces. All right. Then after, the second objective is to understand about the bearing characteristic number. This is an important characteristic number and we will see that what is it and what is the importance of bearing characteristic number. Then the value of bearing characteristic number for the minimum friction is known as your bearing modulus. So we will see that what is bearing modulus. We will have an in-depth study of this also. Then the next lecture objective is to understand about full journal bearing and the partial journal bearings. At last, we will see that how there is transition between the thick film and the thin film bearings. So these are the objectives. We will start with the McKay's investigation, students. So let's start our today's lecture. I have told you, students, about the Petrov's equation right now. Now in the previous lecture, I have told you about the Petrov's equation. That was a relation between the coefficient of friction, and since in the case of hydrodynamic bearings, bearing, I have told you, students, that the only friction when there is a lubrication between the two mating surfaces, the only friction that is involved is your friction between the different layers of the fluid, and that friction, that particular resistance between the different layers of the fluid is known as viscosity. And with that, we have got an equation which is known as your Newton's law of viscosity, which says that P is equal to mu A U by H. U is the velocity with which the upper layer is moving. All right, mu is the velocity with which the upper layer is moving, and P is the force which is applied on the moving plates. Then after, the distance between the two plates was a small h, and the relation which we have got is your Newton's law of viscosity, which says that P is equal to mu U by H. Now, friends, apart from that, viscosity index was an important term which I have discussed in the previous lecture. And what is this viscosity index? Basically, we all know that as the temperature of the lubricant is increased, then the molecules of the lubricant, they move away from each other because the oil expands. And due to this, the viscosity decreases as the temperature is increased. So this particular decrease is given by a number which is known as viscosity index. Basically, it is what? It is the rate of change of viscosity with respect to temperature. And this is very important to characterize the variation of kinematic viscosity of lubricating oil with temperature. Then after, what is Petrov's equation? In the previous lecture, I've told you Petrov's equation is basically an important parameter because it has got dimensionless numbers which govern the properties of a bearing. This gives you an information about the coefficient of friction in journal bearing. All right, though the assumptions which are taken in Petrov's equation, they generally don't exist. Always, it is not possible that light load will be there in the bearing, and it is not always important that it is not always compulsory that a shaft and bearing will be concentric with each other. But still, since the dimensionless parameters are there in Petrov's equation which govern the frictional properties of bearing, therefore Petrov's equation is important. And how it is calculated? First, we have used the Newton's law of viscosity. And in Newton's law of viscosity, we have put the values of the area between the surfaces, area of the journal. Then after we have used the surface velocity and we have used the clearance space. By using these all values, will have surface velocity and the area between them, we have put these value in this Newton's law of viscosity formula, and we have got an expression for frictional torque. All right. Now in this expression, again one more expression we will develop, and that will be with respect to pressure that is acting on the bearing. And what will be that pressure? Actually, the load that is acting on the bearing due to the shaft, that is a capital W. And load divided by the projected area. Projected area means though the cross surface, curved surface area is 2 pi r into L, but we are needing only the projected area. Projected area means a portion, just a plane which is passing through the diameter, that will be considered as the projected area. The plane of the journal which is passing through the diameter. So that particular area will be the area of a rectangle in which the length is equal to how much? L, and your width is equal to how much? Width will be your 2r, that is your d. So d into your 2r into L will give you the projected area. So this we have calculated another expression for the frictional torque, that is F into 2 pi r square into L. Now when we have equated these two expressions, we have got the Petrov's equation, in which there were two dimensionless numbers. One is r by c and second is mu ns by p. So these are important because various properties of the bearing like frictional torque, power loss and temperature rise of the bearing are obtained through this particular relation. Now students, I will tell you about the Mackey investigation. Mackey investigation. What is this investigation? This is an important investigation, and therefore you should pay attention here. In hydrodynamic bearings, students, initially the journal, we know it is at rest. The journal, in the case of hydrodynamic bearing, initially it is at rest. All right. For example, this is the center of the journal and this is the center of the bearing. Initially, the journal is at rest since there is no relative motion. All right, and therefore there is no film between them. You can see there is no film that is maintained between the journal and the bearing. Now, therefore, there is metal to metal contact. Therefore, there is metal to metal contact between the surface of the journal and the bearing. As the journal starts to rotate, now as the journal will start to rotate, what will happen? Again, as the journal will start to rotate, this particular journal, it will rotate means it will move. For example, if you are considering that it is rotating in clockwise direction like this, it will try to move, try to move upward in this surface. When it will rotate, it will roll. When this journal will rotate, it will roll upwards in this section. All right, in between you have fluid here everywhere there is fluid, students. So it will move upwards. As the journal will start to rotate, it takes some time for the hydrodynamic film to build sufficient pressure in the clearance space. So as it will move upwards, this fluid, students, it will try to rush into this small portion, into this converging channel. This fluid will try to rush into this converging channel. Why? Because this velocity with which this journal is moving, that velocity will be copied to the this velocity will be copied to this lubricant also, and it will try to rush into this converging channel. It will try to rush into this converging channel. All right. Now, but during this time, during this when the shaft has got started to rotate, there will be some metal to metal contact, but that will be partial metal to metal contact. There will be only partial metal to metal contact. All right, and there will be some partial lubricating film. Still, if it will move upwards, it will be something situation like this. This is your journal. This is your bearing, and in it, the position which I am telling to you at the start will be something like this. Means you can see, now you can see that the journal has moved upwards in this position, and still there is some partial to partial contact. Still, there is some partial to partial contact here, partial metal to metal contact, and still there is some partial lubricating film. Now again, if the speed of the lubricant, as speed of the shaft will increase, as the speed of the shaft will increase, what will happen? As more speed of the shaft is increased, more and more lubricant will be forced into this wedge-shaped region. Wedge-shaped region means this particular region, this particular region here. This is known as your wedge-shaped region. So in this wedge-shaped region, more and more lubricant will be moving. All right, and it will occupy the area between the journal and the shaft. As the speed will increase, try to understand, students, as the speed of this journal will increase, then more and more lubricant will try to flow, more and more lubricant will try to flow into this wedge-shaped region. All right, and this is clearance between the shaft and the journal will be filled with this lubricant, and this will separate the two surfaces of the journal and the bearing. Finally, in the third situation, what you will see what you will see, student, in the third situation, you will see that if this is the journal, then if this is the bearing, then this journal is full on separated. This journal is it is full separated from the bearing. All right, everywhere there is fluid. Now in the third case, when sufficiently when sufficient amount of speed has been gained by the journal. All right, so in this line it is correctly said that as the speed is increased, more and more lubricant is forced into this wedge shaped region. More and more lubricant is now forced into this wedge shaped region, and then it is occupying the space, it is occupying the clearance space between the journal and the bearing, creating a lot of pressure. And due to that pressure, due to this pressure which is acted, due to this particular pressure which is acting, due to this pressure which is acting here, due to this pressure, your journal moves upwards. And finally, the third condition is this one. So this is the first condition. First condition is what? When the journal is stationary inside the bearing. Second is what? Second is that when the journal has started rotating. Third is what? When the journal has gained sufficient speed. All right. So these are the three conditions, students, and all in the third condition, in the final condition, when sufficient speed has been gained, then there is a thick film lubrication. While at the start, in the second stage, when there is less speed of the journal, then there is partial metal to metal contact, and this is the case of thin film lubrication. In thin film lubrication, we say that there is partial metal to metal contact, and when the two surfaces in contact, they are not in at all in contact with each other, then we say that is thick film lubrication. And when there is metal to metal contact, we say that is zero film lubrication. So all the three, I hope you have understood: zero film, thick film, and thin film. Now, I hope this is Mackay investigation. You have understood now what Mackay has done. It has given you a graph. This is the graph between a characteristic number mu n by p. Mu n by p is a parameter which is known as bearing characteristic number. And this graph, Mackay, what he has done, he has drawn a curve which is known as the mu n by p curve or bearing characteristic number curve. In this graph, you can see a curve has been made. So first of all, let's see what is taken in the abscissa and the ordinate. On the x-axis, you can see that mu n by p is taken. Mu is your viscosity, dynamic viscosity, n is the RPM, and p is the pressure that is acting on the bearing. So mu n by p, mu n by p, mu n by p, where mu is your absolute viscosity. All right, n is the speed of the journal, and p is the bearing pressure, unit bearing pressure, means pressure per unit area. Pressure per unit, load per unit area. P is basically what? The load W divided by the projected area. Area projected. All right. So basically mu n by P is basically a number which is known as the bearing characteristic number. So its value we are taking on the x-axis, and on the y-axis we are taking the coefficient of friction, that is mu, or in here we are taking F. We are writing it as F. So coefficient of friction is F on the y-axis, and on x-axis we are taking mu n by P. Now, generally, why this curve has been made? Because it shows you the transition from thin film lubrication to thick film hydrodynamic lubrication. Just now, I have told you that there are three stages when the journal was stationary, when the journal has started rotating, and when the journal has gained sufficient amount of speed. And we have seen that when the speed is less, then there is thin film lubrication, and when the speed is increased of the journal, then we have thick film lubrication. So in order to show the transition from the thin film lubrication to the thick film lubrication, we have used this curve mu n by p curve. All right. It is an important curve, and I will explain you what is this mu n by p curve. It is an experimental curve which is developed by Mackay brothers. In it, there is a bearing characteristic number, which is a dimensionless group of parameters, and it is given by mu n by p, where mu is your absolute viscosity and speed of the journal, and p is the bearing unit bearing pressure. Now, let's see. See, the bearing characteristic number is generally plotted on the x-axis, I have told to you, and on y-axis we have coefficient of friction. And coefficient of friction, how you are getting it? It is basically how you are getting it is basically the ratio of tangential force, tangential frictional force acting to the radial load acting on the bearing. Means if once again I am drawing the diagram. If this is the bearing, and this is the, for example, if this is your journal, then the load frictional force, if journal is rotating in this direction, then there will be frictional force. There will be some frictional force in this direction. So this frictional force F divided by the radial load. Radial load means this load R. This is basically what? This will give you the coefficient of friction mu, where here it is written as F. This will give you the coefficient of friction F. Now here in this particular diagram, you can see there are two parts. One is this BC part, and the second is your CD part. There are two parts of this curve, BC, and the second is CD. All right. In this BC part, BC is basically showing the thin film lubrication, and this CD part is showing you the thick film lubrication. And how it is made, let me now tell you. In the region BC, there is partial metal to metal contact and partial patches of lubricant. Means this basically the region BC is showing you the thick film lubrication area. Here the bearing characteristic number is less. All right. Viscosity value is less and speed is also less. Therefore, mu n by p, pressure is also less. So mu n by p value is less here, and coefficient of friction value is high. Therefore, this particular portion is showing you the thin film lubrication. This particular portion is showing you the thin film lubrication. All right, and here in this BC portion, there is partial metal to metal contact in this portion BC, and also there are only some patches of lubricant. So we can say this is a thin film or boundary lubrication. Then there is another region which is known as the CD region. There is another region which is known as the CD region, this particular region. In this region, you will see that there is relatively thick film of lubrication. Means the third region is the one which is obtained when the speed, of the journal is high, when the speed of the journal is now sufficiently high. And the situation is that, your journal is completely out of contact with the bearing, means there is lubrication everywhere. So there is thick film of lubrication in this CD region. All right, and between these two regions you have a dividing line. You have a dividing line between these two regions, which is AC. AC is the dividing line or the transition line. The region to the left of this AC, the region to the left of this AC is a thin film zone, and region to the right of the AC, region to the left of the AC is a thin film zone, and region to the right of the AC is a thick film zone. All right, so AC is basically the dividing line between these two modes of friction. Now, why this is important? It has been observed that the coefficient of friction is minimum at C. You can see that the value of coefficient of friction in this graph, you can see how you will calculate the coefficient of friction. Y-axis is giving you the coefficient of friction value. And in this graph, students, what is the minimum value which you are seeing here of the coefficient of friction at this point? This point, this is the minimum value of coefficient of friction. All right, so at this minimum value of coefficient friction you are getting at this C transition zone. All right, and the value of the bearing characteristic number corresponding to this minimum coefficient is known as bearing modulus, and it is denoted by K. This value the value, student, of the bearing characteristic number corresponding to this minimum value of coefficient of friction, corresponding to this minimum value of coefficient of friction. See, in this whole graph the minimum value you are getting at C, and corresponding to this minimum value of friction, the value of bearing characteristic number is known as your bearing modulus. The value of this bearing characteristic number is known as your bearing. It is known as your bearing modulus. It is known as your bearing modulus. All right. So, and it is denoted by K. It is denoted by K. So K is basically this length, this particular length, this distance is your K. It is giving you the value of bearing characteristic number at minimum value of coefficient of friction. So if someone asks you what is the bearing modulus, then you can say that it is denoted by K, and it is basically the value of bearing characteristic number corresponding to minimum coefficient, of friction. All right. Now, students, a bearing should never be operated at the critical value K, because a slight drop in the speed or a slight increase in the load will reduce the value of mu n by p. This is not mn by p, this is mu n by p. Basically, students, this parameter bearing characteristic number mu n by p, if you decrease this n, means speed of the journal. All right, or you increase this load value, what will happen to this whole soul number? This whole soul number will decrease. And what will happen when it will decrease? Then again your journal will reach into this thin film lubrication zone, and when it will reach into the thin film lubrication zone, as the value of mu n by p will decrease. When it will decrease? When the speed of the journal is decreasing and the load on the journal is increasing. Then in that case, what will happen? This bearing characteristic number will decrease, and it will reach this thin film region. All right, so therefore your bearing should never operate near to this critical value K. A slight decrease in speed or slight increase in the load P, this will reduce the value of mu n by P. This will result in boundary lubrication. Boundary lubrication means thin film lubrication is also known as boundary lubrication. Thin film lubrication is also known as boundary lubrication. All right. Now, one more thing that is important to tell you here is that the guideline for hydrodynamic, if this is said that your bearing should not operate near to this transition zone C, this means that there should be some guidelines to operate the hydrodynamic lubrication. What are the guidelines in order to avoid the seize? If you want that your journal is not seized in the bearing, you should always operate such that your bearing characteristic number is 5 to 6 times of when the coefficient of friction is minimum. Means your bearing characteristic number should always be 5 to 6 times of bearing modulus. Bearing modulus was what? Bearing modulus was the value of bearing characteristic number when the coefficient of friction was minimum. So always you should operate hydrodynamic journal bearing at a bearing characteristic number 5 to 6 times of the bearing modulus. All right. And if the bearing is subjected to fluctuating load, if there is some fluctuating load that is acting on the bearing, in that case, your bearing characteristic number should be 15 to 16 times of bearing modulus. This also you should keep in mind that if the load is fluctuating load, or if there is an impact load which is obtained, which is applied for a sudden, which is applied suddenly. So in the case of impact load and in the case of fluctuating load, in both these cases, the bearing characteristic number should be even more than 5 to 6 times. It should be between 15, it should be near about 15 times, at least 15 times the bearing modulus. In the case of fluctuating loads, it should be above the 15 times of the bearing modulus. So it has been observed that mu n by p curve, that when viscosity of the lubricant is very low, when mu value is very low, the value of mu n by p parameter will also be low. If mu is low, this means that mu n by p will also be low, and body lubrication will occur, thin film lubrication will occur. Therefore, if the viscosity of lubricant is low, then the lubricant will not separate the surface of the journal and the bearing, and metal to metal contact will occur, resulting in excessive wear at the contacting surfaces. So this I have already told you that as mu viscosity value is decreased, what will happen? Mu n by p will decrease, and you will be in the thin film lubrication zone. And here there will be partial metal to metal contact, and there will be lot of excessive wear at contact surfaces. Now, the importance now of this mu n by p curve, this curve mu n by p, which I have just told to you, this curve basically is telling you, this curve mu n by p, it is basically telling you about, it is this curve mu n by p, it is basically telling you, it is basically telling you about what? This is the transition line. All right, this curve is telling you about the stability, it is defining the stability of hydrodynamic bearing. This curve is basically defining you the stability of hydrodynamic bearings. All right, and it is helping you to visualize the transition from the boundary lubrication to the thick lubrication. It is helping you to visualize how there is transition from the boundary lubrication to the thick film lubrication. All right, and it's basically the definition of stability of hydrodynamic bearings. So let's once again explain it in a better way. See, now try to focus on this. If you are in this region, thick film lubrication region, if you are in this thick film lubrication region, we know that as the speed will increase, then power loss will also increase, because you are rotating at very high speed. So there is high speed means it is very obvious that when the speed is increased, then power loss will be increased. And when the power loss is increased, students, this means that the coefficient of viscosity mu, this will decrease. See, if the power loss will increase, once again I am telling to you, don't get confused. When the power loss here due to friction, if this will increase, what will happen? We know that the formula for power loss due to friction is given by mu wb. Mu wb means here in the whole of the discussion we have taken mu as written as f. So don't get confused. Here it is written as mu. So it will be mu wb. All right. So if power loss is increased, means this is increased. This is increased means we can say that load is increased. All right. Load on the shaft is increased. If power loss is increased, means load on the shaft is increased. Load on the shaft is increased means the heat generated is increased. Whenever a friction, when is the power loss? Power loss is always there when there is friction. So when power loss is increasing, this means that friction is increasing. Friction is increasing means heat that is generated through friction, that will also increase. And if the heat generated through friction is increasing, this means that temperature basically is increasing. Temperature is increasing, then this means that viscosity will decrease. As I have told you, viscosity index, in the topic of viscosity index, students, I have told to you that as the heat generated, as the temperature is increasing, viscosity will decrease. And if the viscosity is decreasing, then this parameter, dimensionless parameter, mu n by p, or we are saying zn by p, this dimensionless parameter zn by p, or mu n by p, we are writing here in this definition, this parameter which is known as bearing characteristic number, this will also decrease. Why it will decrease? Because if this Z, this viscosity is decreasing, it is very much obvious that Zn by P, there is Zn by pi v by P will decrease. And if it is decrease, if it is decreasing means going in this direction. It is decreasing means going in this direction. This means that mu will decrease, because in this graph you can see, in this line you can see that mu is decreasing as mu is decreasing as Zn by P is decreasing. Coefficient of friction is decreasing. Coefficient of friction is decreasing as the viscosity is decreasing. All right. So through this graph, it is shown that as the value of bearing modulus, bearing characteristic number, as it is decreasing, this means that the value of coefficient of friction, this will also decrease. And if coefficient of friction is decreasing, this means that again you can go here in this first step, that if coefficient of friction is decreasing, this means that mu wv, basically this is the power loss, this will also decrease. This will also decrease, and this will decrease means temperature will decrease. So automatically you are seeing in this whole diagram, in this whole of this process which I have told to you, this is a self-correcting region. Self-correcting means automatically you are always in the zone of thick lubrication. Because if load will also increase, then also what will happen, there will be nothing issue, because it is a self-correcting region. It is a self-correcting region. Once again I am trying to make you understand, students. See, if the load will increase on the bearing, then power will increase. Loss will increase. This means that temperature will increase. Temperature will increase means the heat generated will increase. And we know that the viscosity is inversely proportional to temperature. Means viscosity will decrease with increase in temperature. And viscosity into N by P. This is your bearing characteristic number. This will decrease because viscosity has decreased. And we say if this characteristic number has decreased, this means that as this characteristic number is decreasing, so is your coefficient of friction is decreasing. And if coefficient of friction is decreasing, then we know this formula of this power loss, mu wv. In this formula you can see that if coefficient of friction is decreasing, this means that power loss will also decrease. Power loss will decrease, this means that temperature, this means power loss is decreasing, this means that temperature will also decrease. All right, this means that again the temperature has got decreased and everything is now okay. So this means that this area, this particular region in the right of this section AC, this region is known as self-correcting region, and it is a stable region. It is a stable region. Now let me tell you about this particular location, which is in this particular portion, thin film lubrication portion. Into the left of this portion AB. Coming into the left of this portion AB, students, here if load will increase, what will happen? Power loss will increase. Then heat generated will be increasing, temperature will increase. Now as temperature will increase, then viscosity will decrease. Viscosity will decrease, then this bearing characteristic number, which is given by viscosity into N by P, this will also decrease. And this will decrease if this bearing characteristic number is decreasing here. What will happen? In this graph you can see, that as the bearing characteristic number is decreasing in this thin region, so is your coefficient of friction increasing. So coefficient of friction will increase if this number is decreasing. This means that coefficient of friction, relation between coefficient of friction and power loss is that they are directly proportional. This means that power loss will increase, and power loss will increase. This means that this region, will be the region where there is instability. There is instability means you can't work in this thin lubrication region, because here if the load will increase in this thin lubrication region, if you increase the load by keeping the bearing characteristic number less, means if your load will increase, what will happen? Power loss will increase, heat generated will increase, temperature will increase. Due to that, viscosity will decrease, because temperature and viscosity are inversely proportional, and viscosity will decrease. This means that Zn by this bearing characteristic number will decrease. And if it is decreasing, this means that in this graph you can see, students, you can see that the coefficient of friction is increasing. All right. And if coefficient of friction is increasing, this means that power loss is increasing. So overall, you are seeing that this particular area is not giving you any benefit, and there is power loss, and there are chances of seize of the journal in the bearing. There are chances seize journal inside the bearing. So we will avoid this region, and this region is known as the unstable region. Thin lubrication region in this McKee investigation graph, this mu n by p graph, in this graph, thin film lubrication region is the unstable region, while the thick film lubrication region is the self-correcting region. It is the self-correcting region. I hope this graph is now well understood to you, students. I hope this graph is now well understood to you. Mu n by p graph, mu n by p graph, students. For your uh, this was your characteristic number, mu n by p. And why it was important? Because it is giving you the condition of whether the lubrication is stable or unstable. And this AC line is the transition line. On the right of this, you have a thick film lubrication region. On the left of it, you have a thin film lubrication region. Always you should work, always the lubrication should be in this region, CD region. This is known as the thick film lubrication region, and it is also the self-correcting region. It is also known as the self-correcting region. While in the thin film lubrication area, it is known as the unstable region, and you should never work in this unstable region because it can result in power loss. It can result in power loss. All right. So in this, what is the value of the bearing characteristic number at the minimum value of coefficient of friction? This is known as your bearing modulus. This K is the value of bearing characteristic number at the minimum value of coefficient of friction. At the minimum value of coefficient of friction. This is known as bearing characteristic number. Then after, let's solve some questions now based on it. Importance we have seen. Then now let's solve some questions based on it, students. After that, there is one more topic, that is your Reynolds equation. Let's first of all solve some multiple choice questions now. This is an example. This is based on Sommerfeld's number, but still we have not completed this Sommerfeld's number. In the coming lecture, I will tell you about this Sommerfeld's number and this Reynolds equation. Basically, this in this diagram, you can see, students, in this diagram that this lubricant area, this vacant area, we are going to do some calculation regarding this vacant area, which will be known as your Reynolds equation. Let's first of all see some multiple choice questions. What are the multiple choice questions? Let's see. Coming into the multiple, let's solve some multiple choice questions, students. Coming into the multiple choice question number 1. The question is saying that this is multiple choice question number 1. All right. The question is saying that thick film lubrication describes a phenomena where two surfaces are, so in case of thick film lubrication, we all know that the two surfaces are completely separated. They are completely separated from each other. So our answer will be your answer A, that in case of thick film lubrication, there is no metal to metal contact between the journal surface and the bearing surfaces. All right. So option A, that is completely separated, is the answer. Coming into the next multiple choice question. Hydrodynamic bearings are self-acting bearing. So as I have told you in the graph also, in the graph I have told you, students, the graph is somewhat like this. All right, there is transition zone here. In this graph, I have told you here in the x-axis we are keeping bearing characteristic number and y-axis we are keeping a value of mu. So while explanation, I have told you that this particular zone, which is the thick film lubrication zone, all right, it is acting as the self-acting bearing. It is acting as self-acting bearing. So we can say that hydrodynamic bearing is a self-acting bearing. This statement is true, means option A is the correct option. Here in the case of hydrodynamic bearing, the pressure in the bearing is created within the system due to rotation of the shaft. Due to rotation of the shaft, the pressure is itself created in the bearing. Then the next one, MCQ number 3. What is the next MCQ? MCQ number 3 is saying you that a journal bearing is a dash contact bearing working on hydrodynamic lubrication and which supports load in. So we all know that a journal bearing supports load in both direction, in the axial direction also and it's in the radial direction also. But the question here is that a journal bearing is a sliding contact bearing. So sliding, or first fill in the blanks is your sliding, and the second, it supports the load in axial or radial direction. It supports the rate. General bearing supports the load in the radial direction. So sliding and radial. This option C is giving you the correct answer. Option C is the correct answer. This is how bearing. The explanation is all given to you. It derives its name from the portion of the shaft inside the bearing. Coming into the multiple choice question number 4. What is the question saying? Partial bearing is preferred over journal bearings. Why partial bearings are preferred over journal bearings? The reason is that friction losses are generally lesser in the case of journal bearings, and also the construction is simple. It doesn't need any pump and anything, some external means. It does not need any external means, and also frictional losses are less. Therefore, journal bearings is preferred over partial bearing. This statement is not true. Partial bearing is preferred over journal bearing. This statement is not true because journal bearing is preferred over partial bearing. Then after coming into the MCQ number 5, MCQ number 5 student, what is the question saying? Temperature rise in partial bearing is dash than full bearing. In the case of partial bearing, the temperature rise is lesser as compared to full bearing because the area of contact is less. Partial bearing means what? Partial bearing means where the area of contact between the journal and the bearing. This is partial in this way. 120 less than 180 degree in this way. So area of contact which you are seeing is also less. Area of contact which you are seeing between the two surfaces, this is also less. All right. So temperature rise in partial bearing is less as compared to full bearing. So option A is the correct option of this multiple choice question number 5. Coming into the next multiple choice question, question number 6. A clearance bearing is designed accurately to keep the radius of the journal and bearing equal. Whether this is why this is done? A clearance bearing is generally is designed accurately to keep the radius of the journal and bearing equal. Now here journal radius is kept larger. Option A. B is journal radius is kept smaller. C is your true, and fourth is can't be determined. So we can know that the journal radius is always kept smaller than the radius of the bearing. Then only you will get clearance bearing. All right. So option B, general radius is kept smaller. This is the correct answer in the case of clearance bearing because here clearance is provided between the journal and the bearing. While in the case of fitted bearing, question number 7, question number 7 is what? Question number of 7 says that in case of fitted bearing must be partial bearing. So yes, it is true. Why? Because in fitted bearing, there is no clearance between the journal and the bearing. This means that there will always be some partial contact. Whole sole full lubrication is not possible. Therefore, always there will be metal to metal contact. Coming into MCQ number 8, multiple choice question number 8. What is question saying to us? Let's see. In this question, footstep bearing is an axial load bearing. Whether it is true? Yes, it is true. And it is used to bear the thrust load. We have seen that in the case of footstep bearing, basically this is footstep bearing is used to bear the thrust load. It is used to bear the thrust load. It is used to bear the thrust load. Therefore, option B is the correct option. Coming into question number 9. What is the question? The question is that in the case of hydrostatic and hydrodynamic bearings, whether they are the same thing, hydrostatic and hydrodynamic. No, in the case of hydrostatic bearing, or in the case of hydrostatic lubrication, we use external pump. In hydrodynamic, motion is provided by shaft, while in hydrostatic, the motion is provided by some external source. So both are different with each other. So option is wrong. B is the correct option, that is false. This statement is not correct. Hydrostatic and hydrodynamic bearings are not the same things. Then coming into the next multiple choice question, if we exclude the cost factor, which bearing is preferred? If cost is not a constraint, if you don't use constraint of cost, student, this is our multiple choice question number 10. If cost is not a constraint, it is a barrier, then always we use hydrostatic bearing. Because why? Because it can carry high load, it has no starting friction, and there is no rubbing action. Therefore, always hydrostatic bearing is considered if there is no cost constraint. All right. So in this way, we have completed all the multiple questions. I hope you understood the multiple questions which I have discussed with you. I hope you have understood all the multiple choice questions which I have discussed with you. Now again, we will meet you in the next video lecture, in which I will tell you about this Reynolds experiment, Reynolds equation by Raimondi and Boyd method, and the Sommerfeld's number. So don't miss my next video lecture. And for today, it's enough, students. For today, it's enough. These are the reference books which you can use for your self-study. I have made content using the book which are written in the screen. My main textbook which I have used is the Design of Machine Element, written by V.B. Bhandari. It is of Tata McGraw-Hill publication. All right. Apart from them, I have used some content from these other books like M.C. Pandya and Shah book written by the name Elements of Machine Design. Then from the book of R.C. Bahl and V.K. Goel, written by the name Mechanical Machine Design. Then the book written by Shingley of the McGraw-Hill publication. This is also a very good book. You can also use this book. This book is named as Mechanical Engineering Design. All right. And the machine design book of the writer K.K. Pujara, Juneja and Bhandari of the Dhanpat Rai publication. This is also a very important book. So you can use for self the numericals given in these for your students. For today, that is enough. We will again meet in the next video lecture where we will discuss about the Sommerfeld's number. It is also a very important topic. Many of the questions are asked with this Sommerfeld's number and this experiments, Reynolds experiments in the competitive examinations also. So be in touch with me in the next video lecture also. Thank you, students. Thank you, students. Thank you and have a nice day.